Always use eye protection. One of my two worst injuries with a hand drill was when I was drilling through a piece of metal that shattered the bit and a piece of it flew into my eye. Always drill straight in and straight out in any operation. Twist drills are brittle and will snap easily, especially the smaller ones, if you put sideways pressure against them when drilling. If the wood is dense, and for deeper holes, make sure you use the peck method of drilling a little way in and then pulling the bit back out to release the chip smashed into the flutes, and then repeat. When drilling with a larger twist drill, always drill a smaller pilot hole that is the same size of the tip of the larger drill. Otherwise, you'll find that the large drill will not track well and is much harder to drill with. Start with a slow, gentle speed until the bit has gained purchase into the material, and then ramp up to whatever speed is necessary. Often for bigger bits, it is wise to set the clutch level to 3/4 of the maximum torque range so that if the bit does bind up, the clutch will engage before you lose control. Also, with bigger bits, you should have the speed lever set back to a low range. Make sure you have a steady stance and use two hands when possible. Do not cover the air intake on the housing with your second hand, or the drill may overheat. When using the drill gun as a screw gun, hold the screw gun with a finger and thumb near the head of the screw. Start engaging the motor slowly and only remove your fingers when the screw has achieved solid rigidity into the material. At that point, start going faster while maintaining steady pressure on the back of the screw head. Screws often strip out for three reasons. 1. The angle of the bit does not match the angle of the screw. 2. The screw head is a different size than the bit. And 3. There is not enough forward pressure against the screw and the bit rides out of the grooves and grinds down the top. Sometimes, actually most of the time, it is necessary to drill a pilot hole when putting screws into anything other than soft wood. The pilot hole should be the diameter of the inside of the screw. This means if you were to grind down the threads on the screw, the size left at the bottom should be the same size of the drill you should pick. In addition, when driving screws into a board, they will oftentimes run into a knot or a piece of hard grain and tilt the screw over at an angle. It is important to match the drill to the angle of the screw at that time so as to not strip out the screw. Make sure you always keep your work securely fastened or else it may spin on you. On a regular drill driver, the clutch can be set to allow different stop depths for screws as well. This is most handy when setting screws into sheetrock repeatedly. Let me demonstrate putting a screw into a board at different clutch settings. The first will be a number 1. The second will be a number 5. And the last will be a number 10. This way you can set your clutch to leave the screw head flush with the sheetrock instead of over or under driving it. When using the impact gun, it is important to understand the noise that it makes. The first sound is the impact gun being used correctly. The second sound is the sound of the bit stripping the screw. Do not get them mixed up. The impact gun has an amazing amount of torque, and if you drive a screw too far into a piece of wood, it will pop the head right off the screw. Make sure you let off the pressure on the trigger when coming to the end of your plunge. Lastly, when screwing two boards together, sometimes even with a pilot hole, there will be enough back pressure at the beginning of the second board that the first board will be pushed away from the second and you will have a gap emerge between the two. If this happens, simply retract the screw until it is backed out of the second piece of wood and then reinstall. This time there will be threads from the initial pass for it to follow and they should come together firmly.